Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, March 31st, 7:47 a.m. We're going to talk about the second remote viewing session that I did, as well as to continue to talk about whether the blood was planted. I'm open to arguing that it's not, to those that argue that it's not. However, Ashley Banfield also just reported a video that really is curious and makes us wonder whether or not it is true that are you trying to make bubbles in the background? My grandson's here watching me record. Sorry. I can hear us making bubbles in his cranberry juice. Anyway, sorry. So Ashley Banfield's recent video. Wow, let's watch. No evidence of a struggle inside the house. Now, Ashley has been very epic in her reporting, and it's been consistently accurate. And so let's watch that clip now, and let's see. I'm going to walk you through my second psychic hit. I'm going to play it for you, and I'm going to show you why I don't think the blood is real. And as far as an accident goes, I want to show you the details of my psychic hit as far as where these guys came in from, etc. So let's roll it. Here's Ashley 2 days ago reporting to us her insider information, which has been impeccably accurate. Nobody has questioned Ashley Banfield because her integrity speaks for itself, as does her reputation. And everything she has said has been accurate. So listen up.
And I can't remember what Jane said about what language. Calm. And she is quite calm, this little puppy. She's a little monkey, but she's pretty calm and sweet. So I wanted to come to you tonight, not just because I had this adorable puppy, but I'm puppy sitting, but also because I've got some news that I wanted to bring you from my, do you want to jump down? Do you want to go down and play? I'm going to put her down. I've spoken to my sources. I've been having multiple conversations with my sources in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And we're at day 56. I'm recording this on the 28th of March, a Saturday. And I heard something that kind of just made me shake my head. And I wanted to come to you. Normally I do this Monday to Friday. On occasion I'll do the Saturday, but I had to do this today because some of you may have heard me say this before. In an investigation, sometimes it's like a duck swimming, right? Above water, the duck is very calm and appears not to be doing anything at all. And below the water, their little paddles are flying, right? Just paddle, 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 paddle. And part of me wondered if that's what's going on in the Nancy Guthrie investigation, that it's calm, it's quiet. You heard an episode from me the other day where an investigator said, we ain't got shit. But they're paddling like crazy, right? Paddling like crazy under the surface, and there's something really going on. And, oh, sweetheart. I can tell you that an investigator on the case has described Nancy Guthrie's home this way. But for the blood pattern in that front hall foyer, the droplets that go over the threshold of the front door into her entrance at the front door outside and then down the walkway. But for that, and this man appearing on camera and that camera being taken, nothing else inside the home appears that a crime happened. And the exact words that were spoken to me were this: it's as though, but for those things, it's as though Mrs. Guthrie got up in the middle of the night, out of bed, and walked out of her house and disappeared. And that was such a profound statement to me, because I also assumed there was a lot of evidence in that home that we just don't know about, right? The duck paddles under the water. That there's so much that they've processed and that they're working on and that we don't know about. And what did it look like in her bedroom? And was there a scene of a struggle? Was there sort of a things out of place, knocked out of place, something, right? Savannah has mentioned back doors propped open, plural. I have a theory about that. It might actually be.
Okay, well, we're going to learn from Ashley again how the doors were propped open. But my point in this is nothing inside the house. Zero evidence of a struggle. But for, as she says, the guy on camera and the blood, there is no appearance of anything inside the house of a struggle. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. How does that happen and we end up with blood? Hence why I continue to wonder and believe, in my opinion and only my opinion, that that blood was planted to divert attention. How do people end up bleeding from being hit in the head in a struggle, have zero spray inside the house, nothing knocked over, nothing out of place, and yet there's blood? It just doesn't add up for me. And I continue to think the blood was planted. What do you think? I don't know. The more I hear from Ashley, like I said to you all, as a psychic medium, they came in the back way. I said that before Ashley reported it, and then Ashley reported it. I'm saying now I think that blood is planted. I'm wondering if we'll find that out down the road. Just curious. What do you think? Now, I want to move to my second remote viewing, and let's talk about it in detail. Let's go. For those of you that are not aware, that are new here, by the way, welcome to everybody that's new who's subscribed, and those of you who've been with me from the get-go. I volunteer as a psychic medium with the Find Me group and have located a missing child before and have been working in that capacity on this case as well. So yesterday, I did a remote viewing and posted this at about 2 p.m. So I want you to watch it now, and I'm going to talk in more detail about it. Sorry, going in. Hey everybody, it's me. I just finished my second remote viewing on the Nancy Guthrie case, and sorry, I'm a little out of it still. Not a little out of it. I'm pretty out of it. So I wanted to find out, going in and setting the intention for this remote viewing with a meditation. I wanted to not set a specific intention this time. So in other words, I didn't have a specific location in mind. I wanted to go in when I do try to tap in and get messages. I always ask for my higher self, that it's not to the benefit of my ego. It's not to prove myself right. It's to get the clearest information that we need. So I set that intention that not to the benefit of my ego. I don't want to necessarily see any particular scene. And boy, there's a lot I want to see. Trust me. Like, if she's still where they were being, she was being held, to my belief, more about that house, the construction site, like inside the crime scene, what happened after she left Annie and Tommaso's. Like, trust me, there's a lot of remote viewing sessions left to come. But this one, I wanted just to leave it up to what I would see. And I saw very clearly, I said, just to the benefit of my ego, just what do we need to see in solving the Nancy Guthrie case? What do I need to see, not to the benefit of my ego? And then if it's, do this meditation, and I immediately see out the back, and I'm going to do this in a longer form video where I show you, I see two guys wearing masks, same outfits, jumping over that back wall into the back lawn. And the first guy's super fast and the other guy's slower. And when they reach that, which nobody's talked about, which makes so much sense, they go right to the floodlights in the back. The one guy gets down on the other guy's shoulders, and so they can reach up and pull those out and get those lights disabled, because how otherwise would they have been able to reach it? Like, I guess they could have pulled a chair up and then they put the chair back. I don't know, maybe, but that's not what my vision showed. And then I see the lights are out. They go back around to the side of the house with the sliding door that enters into Nancy's room. There's not one, there's two. But in my vision, when I see Nancy pulling a mask off and I see three people, that's later. Two of them enter in through the sliding door, come over the back. The third person arrives later. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you where I believe these guys came in, like I've been saying, from the back. And Brian Enton's back in Arizona, and he shows us the back doors. There's two, and I have pictures here that I'll show you as well. So listen up and watch this.
There's been so much focus on the front of Nancy Guthrie's house where the blood was, but many of the questions now are about the back of the house, because Savannah Guthrie in her interview made very clear that doors, plural, were propped open in the back of the house. We're getting our closest look now at the back of Nancy Guthrie's house because we just put our drone up so that we could see exactly what these doors that Savannah was talking about look like. The assumption was that perhaps they were sliding glass.
Sorry, I paused it here because I want you to see the two doors. Those are the two doors propped open. Keep listening.
Doors, but they're not. You see, there's one door under the overhang. This is presumably one of the doors that was propped open. And then there is another door on the back side of the house near the garage. And again, Savannah used the word plural, doors with an S on the end. So the assumption is that both of these doors were propped open when her sister Annie and her brother-in-law Tommaso showed up and realized that Nancy Guthrie was missing. I met up with former Pima County SWAT Commander Bob Krieger to get a feel more for what the back of the house is like.
We're back here and you can't even see her house necessarily. There's just so much brush in the trees, and we're probably 100 feet from it or so. And there's no way they're bringing her back this way. You know, so if they got there that way, they clearly had to go out to the front. But if they were propped open, obviously that was left for a reason. Quick in and quick out, whichever one it was.
So still so many questions about how this went down, but going back behind Nancy's house, there's an open area of terrain, of desert. It's pretty clear it'd be very difficult to navigate that area in the night.
Okay, very difficult to navigate at night. I agree. But the whole area is difficult to navigate at night. Let's be real. The entire area is difficult to navigate at night, which is why the police have come, and practically all law enforcement, the one thing they can agree on is that this person had to have planned it and had inside information on the house, maybe the door being left unlocked, and how to get in there at night, because, you know, it's hard terrain. So we also have been told by Savannah and the neighbors, I'm going to show that clip now, that those 2 nights that the police are looking for video on, that neighbor right by that egress that I showed you before, I'm going to show you again now, his dogs were barking. So we already know they were there twice. There was that vacant house I told you right across from that neighbor's that I felt that they were potentially using as a staging, a setting up to hang out there a little bit and walk that back terrain. Now, they didn't take her out the back through there. I said they took her out the back of the house, not the back area, and had the car around the side that they then took the escape route on. And that construction site down the road that I got a hit on is the route out that the police were asking all the neighbors for their Ring cameras on. It's the same direction. So now I want to show you that easement and the clip from that neighbor from the dogs barking, and why I think they went back that way. They came in that way because they came in, they flew over like my vision I just showed you, that back fence. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of those doors was unlocked and they didn't go around to the sliding door. But we did see the police, the FBI, on the side door where Nancy's bedroom is. And there's another door, sliding door, that little sitting area that's got its little fence over it. There's two sliding doors, one into Nancy's room and one into the living room. Now, I thought they came in through that sliding door. And we have a clip that the FBI, we saw when JLR was out there taking pictures, or somebody had a drone up. Maybe it was Brian Enton, actually. They were taking samples, rather, of the plants that were dangling over that fence. And that's kind of the vision, that's the impression that I was given in my remote viewing, is that they went around the side after dismantling those lights. So let's get into some more details so I can show you what I'm talking about. I just want to mention before that a lot of people have been asking me my theory, those of you that are new, okay? My theory, I'm not going to tell you who I think is the chef in this. You've got to go back to some other videos. I'm not going to name the chef anymore, but I have in past videos indirectly. That's just my opinion. So go back and see that. But I think that there was inside familial access, the people that were looking to get some money, but this was somebody that had some debts, I believe, and the person that their debts was owed to then discovered who they had a relationship with, being Nancy Guthrie. And I believe that they thought they could get money. I believe the first entry access, the two in the back coming in, was met by a third, and the intent originally was to be in disguise and to simply have a modern day robbery. Now, what am I talking about when I say modern day robbery? A Bitcoin thing. Okay. I believe those ransom notes were real. And I hear a lot of comments about, oh, Savannah saying she believes those ransom notes are real. I don't believe they're real. Come on, people. Let's get real. Let's get real for a second. Let's get real. Okay. I know some of you guys are saying that are past law enforcement officers, but let's get real. Do you really think the FBI had them put a statement out, not once, twice, for notes they didn't think were real? Come on. Like, let's get real. The FBI and Savannah clearly believed those ransom notes were real. And I do too. And I said that in my report to the FBI that was submitted through the Find Me group that I volunteer with. I think those notes were real. And I think what the intent was to disguise who they were, because Nancy knew them. And then something went wrong, as I said in my first remote viewing vision. Well, a little flash I had afterwards, that their mask was pulled off. I believe when they were in there, Nancy recognized one of them, pulled the mask off. Now, I don't proclaim to be 100% right on all this, and I'm still trying to finesse my impressions and my visions to make it fit into a cohesive plan, but this is what I got so far. And pretty sure about this part. That could be wrong. Like, my testing when I joined the Find Me group was 80% accurate. And so, take 20% of it and throw it out the window. But here's the thing. I think, in my opinion, that they went in there with the intention of getting some funds out of her, and she recognized one of them and it went wrong. Now, I don't know how much money she has or had available to her, Nancy, but perhaps she refused or didn't have the kind of money that they thought, and then, or she recognized them, which I think is what happened. And now we got to go to plan B. And plan B is, she knows who I am. This is a problem, one of us. And hence, let's make it look like it something it wasn't, that it's not. Let's make sure they don't think this is what it was, and they don't suspect who we are. And so we're going to fabricate the rest, which falls in line with Ashley Banfield's reporting I just showed you No evidence inside at all. Like, what the dang? Okay, so now I'm going to show you, now that I've explained to you, those of you that aren't aware of my theory, go back and watch some other videos if you want to get it in full. But now I'm going to show you the back entrance in, the clip from the neighbor with the dogs, and then the floor plan on how I think it went down. Let's go. Okay, so again, as I said, Brian Etton's back on scene, and he walks to that, through that house to the back with Bob Kruger, and I want to show you that clip for a second, and then the map.
Thank you for meeting up with us, Bob.
No problem.
So we're at a neighbor's house. If you'll just kind of lead the way.
Sure.
I just want to see how close we can get and show people, you know, people don't really understand the terrain back behind Nancy's house.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Apparently this is now rattlesnake.
Yeah, they're starting to come out. A little early for them, and you'll see there's pathways that a lot of neighbors put up. This is usually just common area, common ground, but we're back here and you can't even see her house necessarily. There's just so much brush in the trees, and we're probably 100 feet from it or so. Let's see, my guess is.
So do people generally come back here, like in these neighborhoods?
No, it would be very rare. You see some of they might have little pathways, but it would be more unlikely for, you know, just a person to walk back here, whether they live here or trying to get through the neighborhood, just because it's really difficult. And I am watching out for snakes as we're going.
So the snakes, are we at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, and it's because we hit triple digits earlier here than we normally do. They've been a lot more active. So they might start waking up around now too.
Have you seen any have you seen any this season yet?
I haven't yet, but I've seen a lot of pictures.
Yeah. And do they, I mean, again, I'm from Florida. So
yeah.
Do they bite people regularly? I mean,
you have to really try to get bitten. Even if you almost step on them, they don't want to bite you because they don't want to waste their venom. I worked in a unit that we lived in the desert for almost 5 years, and we'd run into them all the time, and no one ever got bit.
So do you think there's a possibility that the suspect or suspects came, be careful of this cactus, guys.
Yeah.
Came through this back way?
It's possible, but I don't really think so, because you see, like, unless you know exactly where you're coming and going, you already kind of you've probably already lost your sense of direction.
I have.
In just a few seconds back here. So, you know, you use things like telephone poles and things like that. But really these open areas just butt up to the backs of houses. So if anyone's ever back here, you're gonna get a lot of dogs alerting, and you're gonna have to really probably shoot through someone's yard. So it's not like a lot of normal, like back east areas where you have alleyways and it's kind of common.
Yeah.
So
no one would normally come back.
No,
here,
not at all. So I'm trying to remember exactly. She's got a brick house. I think that actually might be right there.
No, that's not it. Yeah, see, even you're confused.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's this way. I think we should follow the poles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the drone, we're actually not as close as it feels.
Okay.
Do people ever, I mean, when you were working at the sheriff's office, did you ever respond to calls in spots like that? Do people hide in areas like this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You say, you know, if someone was, they were trying to burglarize the house and deputies showed up, they would get out here, and this is where we typically find them. They'd come in there like this and try and hide, hunker down underneath the trees, whatever it might be, trying to work a dog or something like that. But this is very common for that. And you'll see, and this is what a lot of homeowners do. They'll just come back here and kind of throw some stuff up and, you know, try and turn it into a walkway or something. Who knows?
Hopefully we're not. Maybe. Yeah, I think it might be back this way. Do you think?
I'm going to pull up my map real quick.
Yeah. Although I don't want to go in anyone's backyard.
Yeah. None of the good thing is, like, none of this is backyard.
So this is all public?
Yeah. It's a utility easement. So we can pretty much go anywhere we want. Let me pull up the map real quick. So this would also show you that if someone used it back here, they would have had to come out a couple of times. They would have had to be real familiar with wherever they parked to get through here to get back to wherever they parked.
Yep.
And the streets like that we're on now, again, not easy to get out of the neighborhood. So just a little more.
So I think we're actually.
Yeah. So
this is her. Right here.
Yep. So let's see.
That's like right there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. This actually I think might be. Oh yeah. This is the house that CBS was using.
Okay.
So now I know exactly where we are.
Does your gut tell you that one of the suspects would have come back through the back way, like through here?
No, I really don't think so. At night, even if you're really familiar with the area, it's going to be tough to traverse, even though it's not real thick. Even though it was a fairly moonlit night, it's tough. You know, you have to know where to park at. You're probably going across someone else's property to get to an area like this that's open. Then you have to get to Nancy's house. Ultimately, if you take her, bring her out the back, and there's no way they're bringing her back this way. You know, so if they got there that way, they clearly had to go out to the front.
Yeah, because we know the back doors were propped open, according to Savannah. Is there any way you think they could have brought Nancy out this back way? It seems kind of impossible.
No, is possible? Yes, highly improbable. Just based on her size and the weight and carrying someone, getting over walls. Just you saw
Cactuses everywhere.
Yeah, you saw how difficult it was just for us to walk through her by ourselves. Imagine trying to carry someone either by yourself or with the help of somebody. It's not easy, and so I don't think the back way would be practical at all. And it's not going to be quick, and it's going to be loud.
Yeah,
you're going to get more attention at 1 o'clock in the morning in an area like this than you are walking up to someone's front door.
When people have dogs here,
sure,
and I'm sure that they're not used to people being back here, so
especially at that time of night.
Yeah.
So you're going to get all the dogs in the neighborhood barking, kind of going off and things like that.
Did you hear there was the dogs at this house nearby, and the owners were telling me that around the time that Nancy disappeared, the dogs wanted to go outside. Yeah. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
And they were looking in the direction of Nancy's house.
Yeah.
And they never wake up in the middle of the night.
It would make sense. My dogs, if someone walks, I live in a very similar neighborhood, kind of geographically like this. And if someone's walking or even in the area, they do the same thing. So, because it's usually very quiet. So the littlest thing on a lot of dogs, they're going to alert to it, and we've used that, officers use that. If you're chasing someone through an area like this, you stop and you listen. And if the dogs over there are barking, I'm going that way because that's probably where the people are going. So it would make sense. Very quiet, very established for a Tucson neighborhood. It's probably the
Sorry, everybody, recording with my grandson here. I got a few blank spots. Bear with me. But Bob Kruger, you can tell, was not following the case and was not aware that the dogs were actually barking from back there, which is why I believe, I'll show you that clip here in a second, and I'm going to show you the map, why I believe they came through the back. Also, we said at the beginning, and everybody said that they look like that guy at the door is wearing 2 layers of clothes. Because if they're traversing through cacti and everything back there, then you might want to wear 2 layers of clothes because of the cacti and everything else. So with the dog barking, which I'm going to show you that clip now, right there, that house that they walked in on beside, that neighbor's dogs woke up. Let me show you on the map in a second. But first, I want to remind you of what the neighbor said. Okay, we're going to watch Nancy Grace here, but I just want to remind you what they looked like, or what the one perp that we know looked like. Looks like he's got 2 layers of clothing on. Everybody has made comment on that, even the gloves. And he's got the reflector lights on his backpack and a flashlight in his mouth. perhaps to direct them as they walk in through the back. I don't know. I keep thinking that's the case. Listen up.
Look at the porch guy, lights, possibly headlights over his shoulder. But first, I want to go to a special guest joining us, a neighbor of Nancy Guthrie's. It's Jeff Lemay, who woke up that night in the early morning hours, and he very often passes Mrs. Guthrie on their neighborhood strolls. Mr. Lemay, thank you for being with us.
For sure. Glad to be here.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because in my world of investigating and prosecuting nothing but violent felonies for so many years, you wouldn't believe it, Mr. Lemay, of how many people, quote, don't want to get involved. They don't come forward. They don't say anything, and they feel okay with that. I will never understand it. First, I'm sure the FBI has quizzed you extensively, but I just want to hear at the beginning of your encounters with Mrs. Guthrie when you would both be out strolling the neighborhood.
Okay, we're going to fast forward here because we don't need to see this, but let's listen some more. Okay, we're going to keep playing this, but Nancy's going to ask him where he lives, and he says 4 homes down from Mrs. Guthrie, right? So he lives on, there's Nancy's home. If you go out the front of Nancy's and you turn right and then right again under the marker that says Nancy's home, the street that runs down there, he's 4 houses down. So 1 is under the blue banner, 2 is right here, 3 and 4. 4 houses down. I thought he lived on the corner, but directly across is the vacant home that I said they were staging on. The other possible route that I originally said I thought they came through was there's a house there in the back and a turnabout right there, cul-de-sac. So I don't know if that's the second road in, but I digress. The point being, he certainly looks like he's dressed to walk in the back with a flashlight and 2 layers of clothes. And we heard the dogs. He was woken up by the dogs. We know the house across from him was vacant, which I got a hit on that I think they used as a staging. And we know he and his dogs woke up the nights in question, January 11th and January 31st. Make that make sense. The nights that they're asking people, and Savannah herself said, do you have anything on camera? The January 11th photo of the perpetrator without the backpack has been out there, that they planned this event and they practiced. And I think that's very evident. Now listen in some more, please, as we listen to the neighbor. And then I show you the house up close.
Do a rescue in the mountains of and the investigators have asked for cameras and camera footage. All the neighbors have shared camera footage and any recollection they have. But the next day, we were surprised when there were helicopters above flying through the neighborhood, a large response of sheriff's department, a volunteer crew of community members who do rescue in the mountains of hikers who came and scoured the neighborhood. And initially, we were wondering what was going on. And then we found out it was our neighbor, which obviously is horrible.
You stated that you live 4 homes down from Mrs. Guthrie. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, your dogs often, as is mine, want to go out in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. That night, did your dog go out?
Yeah, that was where actually I sort of, one of our dogs I have to rouse in the morning is a deep sleeper. There were some nights in question where the investigators have asked us about certain evenings and if we've seen anything unusual. And once again, it could be coincidence, it could be nothing. I'm not an investigator, I'm a layperson. But the dogs did rouse and I took them out. There was an image of me on camera. I heard nothing or saw nothing. But you know, animals can be, especially dogs, can be hypersensitive. And we don't know if there's a correlation. We've shared it. And whether it helps with timeline or in any way, we hope it is of some value.
What time was that, Jeff Lemay?
Gosh, it was, I'm working from memory. It may have been a little bit past 1 a.m.
You know, Jeff Lemay, you really hit the nail on the head, because after everything calms down at night and everything settles and the kitchen is clean, and we'll be sitting there, watching something on TV maybe, and our dog, Fat Boy, will go insane. And then we find out, like 2 minutes later, a delivery was made at the front porch, or somebody then opens the back door. Maybe one of the granny nannies is coming in or out. But he hears it or smells it long before we do. So
Yeah.
I want you to tell me again. And the reason I'm so interested, Jeff, is because I personally have investigated cases where the dog was the initial trigger that raised the first alarm. And there have been many in real life. This is one everybody knows, so I use it a lot. The O.J. Simpson case. The neighbors heard the dog, Akita, issue a, as they say, plaintive wail that they had never heard the dog do before. And this was around the time Simpson was murdering Nicole and Ron. So the dog was the first alarm. Now, I'm very curious. Tell me exactly what happened.
Sure. As I've mentioned, our dogs are usually sound sleepers. Full confession, when the dog woke me up to say, I've got to go outside, I was grudgingly accommodating and took the dog out to our little courtyard in the back of our house. And it was unusual, and it seldom happens. And we've gone back to the other dates that we've been asked about to see if there's a correlation. And as mentioned, shared this information. But animals, especially dogs, can be so sensitive and kind of work on a different realm with smell, hearing, etc. And we hope it's of some help. We don't know.
Okay, they hope it's of some help. He goes on, and I've showed this in another video, so I'm not going to play it now because it's not the topic of the conversation at the moment. But he goes on to say that the police noticed those same 2 nights in question, January 11th and January 31st. By the way, his dogs woke up both nights, and he is behind Nancy's home. And I think they were walking and traversing the trail that we just saw Brian in from the back. Bob Kruger just told us, not knowing that the neighbor's dog was awake, that that's where they as cops will go when they're trying to track someone. They'll listen for the dogs. Now you add that the investigators, go watch that video from Nancy Grace. The investigators found those 2 nights in question that they had internet interference. Jammers, maybe? They planned it. They went in the back, in my opinion. And I'm going to show you the map now in my vision and how I think it went down. Let's go. Okay. So here, let's watch here. We got Nancy's house. This is Nancy's house. I'm just going to put a marker here for Nancy's house. Whoops. Stop. I don't know why it continues to do that. Let's zoom in on Nancy's house. My Lord. Now, if you look carefully, where Brian Etten went in the trail with Bob Kruger, you can see go out Nancy's onto her road, go right and right again. And he said he's the 4th house down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right beside it, you can see the walkway they just took, that easement, that dirt road. And then they walked in through here in the back towards Nancy's. But here's the interesting thing. There's a road right in here, which is what I originally thought they did, that they may be parked in this cul-de-sac. Would the dogs have been alerted if they were parked in that cul-de-sac? Maybe, but it's a much closer walk out the back if you parked your car back in here and jumped over the fence, or walked over through here and jumped over the fence. I'm going to show you some close-ups of the house now. Right? Could they have parked here? Much faster walk in. That's what I originally thought. And in my second remote viewing vision, which I just showed you, I see them almost like a run to jump over this fence here. You got Nancy's pool that's fenced in, and then you got this grassy area. And in my vision, they jumped over that fence and went right here and got the lights out. Because again, think about how otherwise would those lights have been smashed out? Would they have removed a chair and got the light out and then put the chair back to be polite? No, we got no evidence of a chair being moved. In fact, Ashley's latest video says they used the flower pots to prop the doors open. So how did they get the lights out? Because this house is old and I was in real estate for 25 years. So likely 8-foot ceilings, that's typical at the day. But 8 feet, if you're 6 feet, which is pretty damn tall, you know, you got to jump 2 feet off the ground. I mean, I guess you could to smash those, but in my vision, I see one crouching, the other jumping on the shoulders, and those lights being pulled out. And then I think they go through this gate here. I'm not 1,000% here on in my vision on whether they went around the house and climbed over this wall into Nancy's slider, or maybe one of these doors was unlocked. I'm not 1,000%, but I know for sure because my vision kind of like dissipates. I can only hold the energy for so many seconds, if you will. And so they jump over, they get the light, and somehow they make their way in. Now, I think they made their way in from Nancy's at the front of the house here. Let me pull that down so you can see. At the front of the house, you see on the side here where it says Escalante, there's Nancy's porch where she used to sit on. There's a sliding door here, and there's a sliding door here. There's 2 sliding doors. One goes into Nancy's room and one goes into the living room. But there's also the possibility that they could have gone out and around and jumped over. I'm not 1,000%, but I know for sure what I saw, that they jumped over this and came in through the back and got these lights out and removed them right here. So tell me what you think. Thank you for being here, everybody, for watching. Love and light. Have a great day. Praying for Nancy's safe return home as soon as possible.